What's going on, everybody? Rob A here, and today we're taking a look at Kong Skull Island 18-inch posable Kong mega figure. Now, this is a Walmart exclusive, at least here in the States. I'm not lying about it. It says it right here. Boop, boop, boop. This guy runs about 30 bucks at Walmart. I think it was $29.84 or some ridiculous arbitrary number. And it's King Kong. It's Kong from Kong Skull Island, of course. He comes a little figure, and we'll show that off here. That looks absolutely ridiculous. So this is made by Leonard Toys. Leonard, I don't know. It's the same group that makes the core figures. It is basically, it's just, I believe it's a Walmart exclusive toy line where it's just a bunch of kind of fakey, cheap G.I. Joe sort of figures. I don't think they're as posable as G.I. Joe. I'm just using that as kind of a reference. There's a bunch of military vehicles. There may be some elsewhere. They may be sold elsewhere. I honestly don't know. But this is Kong. He actually looks fairly decent. I don't know how posable it is. They talk about how posable it is, but obviously he's got no leg articulation here, so that's a thing. But the paint work is nice on him. He's got decent paint on his face and mouth and everything like that. So we'll chest beating, fully articulated arms. Oh, okay, so it's just his arms. That's all we need to worry about. On the back here, it says, Mega figure. With this epic mega figure, you get to decide how Kong became king. Take control of the mighty monster as he protects the world from the most powerful creatures on Skull Island. A 100-foot mountain of muscle, Kong stands tall in the face of danger. Get ready for battle with the new king of action. Now, no offense, guy, but if he's fighting against this dude, who is presumably about 6 feet tall, where do you get 100 feet out of this? I'm just curious. Just curious as to what that's all about. Yeah, so anyway, this is all the other figures that come with in the series. You get a little boats and monsters and things like that. Collect them all, yada yada. I'm going to go ahead, get this guy out of the package, and we will see what he's all about. Alright, everybody, so here is big, posable, question mark, King Kong. From Kong Skull Island. I guess it's just Kong. I think they're just calling him now. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. So first, let's take a look at the action figure that this guy comes with. And here he is right down here. And so this is, I think, just one of their core figures that they've just kind of repainted and stuck in the packaging for this guy. He comes with a an RPG launcher here, and well, it's just straight up rocket. And you can see I left a little plastic on here because honestly I didn't care, but it's here. It's made of just like rubbery plastic. It's got a little blit on the end that fits into this peg hole on his back, so you can just, I guess, plug it in if that's the kind of thing that you're into, so you can carry it. And check out this guy's face sculpt. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, I mean, he got some paint apps here. He's got articulation in his head, can turn from side to side. His arms can go up and around, up and around. He can point rudely. Listen, buddy, I'm gonna come down there, and you're gonna feel the pain. You're gonna feel the pain in your brain. And that's it. That's it for his posability. He's got no waist articulation. He's got no leg movement of any kind. So, you know, in that way, he's a lot like Kong himself. So this is the figure that you get with this set, and it's not really a proper scale. I would say this figure here is more in scale with like the Kong from like Peter Jackson's King Kong, or like the original King Kong. This is a little bit closer to that sort of scale. So this Kong in Kong Skull Island is supposed to be like 100 feet tall, which obviously does not jive with this, presumably 6 foot tall human whatsoever. But I actually kind of like this idea of this Kong, because I think they're trying to set up like a Kong Godzilla kind of thing going on here. I like this idea that this Kong is like 60 feet tall, which is kind of where he was in the remakes of the King Kong movies that came out in like the 80s or 70s or something like that. I kind of like that idea better, because that would really put him in a nice scale with Mega Bloks micro figures, which are superposable and have a lot of cool vehicles you can add, but then you get something closer to that. Which, you know what, in the Skull Island previews and all that, they have like other Kong skulls on the ground, and this guy looks like he would match pretty well size-wise with those. So, I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. Let's get into the figure itself. Here is Kong. He is very big. He is very heavy. He is very hollow. Still heavy, though. And I think I may have done something bad to his neck, because I don't think he's supposed to have his head flop around quite so much. Let me just adjust the camera here a little bit. He is very large, so it's difficult to get everything in at the same time. So he does have, a nicely, I guess, nicely posable head. It can go up a decent amount. Whether or not it'll stay there is kind of up to the figure. It can go down just a little bit. It just kind of stays like resting like that. It can't actually look down any more than that. He can't look side to side so much as he can look like up and to the side, which would kind of indicate a little bit better if he were able to hold like a natural gorilla pose, like a four limbed pose on the ground, four-legged, I guess, quadrupedal, whatever you want to call it. But because his legs don't move at all, he can't really do that. Now, he does have foot articulation. He can swivel his feet around. I don't really understand why, if his legs don't move, why they let his feet swivel. But whatever. I mean, you guys, whatever you want. So, yeah, there's his feet. I mean, this is decent sculpting, and actually, kind of decent paintwork as well. The plastic color is nice. He's got his butt. There's his butt. You can spink him. He's got screw holes all over the place. And the screw holes are kind of obnoxious, to be honest with you. He's got 4 giant ones right in his back, right in the shoulders. But you could, I guess, easily just kind of fill those in with some putty or whatever, and just, paint over it with some brown paint and kind of hide those. Now, articulation in his arms, they can rotate all the way around, like so. He's got swivel up and down like that. And then he's got an elbow, a double jointed elbow, that can go, you can see the joint here, so it can go up that far and then swivel that far and back like that. So he's got, he can do chest beating, which is what, they said it could do. So he can get that going. But that's really it. He does not have a bicep swivel, and I don't know if you can see this, but his arms are rather loose. So you can find positions that he'll kind of hold. You can like kind of jam his arms into a position that will hold, but I think that's more of like, just the molding kind of catching than it is actual strength in the joint itself. So he's just very, very loose, very floppy for the most part, unless you find those, few places he can actually like hold a pose. His hands, he has one like partially open hand, presumably to hold on to figures, but you can't really get the figure that he comes with into his hand. I mean, you might be able to jam it in there to some degree. Let's see. All right, there you go. He can hold that guy, but he can't really hold him up without some help there. So there you go. He can hold on to that. And then his other fist is just closed. His other hand is closed into a fist. And there is some articulation in there. You can swivel it around a little bit, but the fur sculpting does get in the way of that. So yeah, and that's really all there is to the figure, honestly. Let's get this guy out of his hands because this guy just kind of sucks. There you go. And again, I mean, I think for the Skull Island Kong, you're probably better off with like this kind of size dude. We'll just stick him right in there, and he'll throw him. It's fine, whatever. Whatever. Yeah, so that's Kong. I mean, you can get him into some decent poses, I guess. And let's do a close-up on his face as we kind of end this video here. There you go. So yeah, you can get some fairly okay poses out of this guy, but for the most part, it's just not... Yeah, I mean... This guy costs $24. So for a figure of this size at that price, that's not bad. It's kind of worth it, just for the fact that it is so inexpensive for the size of figure that it is. And he makes a nice display. Like if you have like the giant Godzilla that came out for the last Godzilla movie, this guy would look really good alongside that giant Godzilla. This guy would make a cool display, you know, among your, you know, figures like this or G.I. Joe or whatever else you got. It's a nicely sized King Kong figure. But if you're looking for a posable action figure of King Kong, this is not going to do it for you. You know, it might be a little bit better if I were to take it apart. You know, unscrew all those screws and maybe add some floor polish or something to the joints to kind of stiffen those up a little bit, if that's even something that, you know, is possible to do. So I'm going to say this one's up to you guys. If you want a cool Kong to display, this guy can fill that for you. If you want a cool Kong to play with, you probably want to pass. But, you know, the cost of admission is only $25, and usually... a lot of times you could spend that much money just on it by accident. So, totally up to you, but this is what the figure is. This is how posable he is or is not. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's going to do it for this review, guys. I want to thank you so very much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. It really does help me out. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more. I will have more Kong Skull Island videos coming soon. Maybe one more. I don't know if I'll have a lot more, but... in the meantime, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.